graphics designer Rax425 from Rax425.com, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about why I am not going to buy the new 2016 MacBook Pro. Now, you know, there's pros and cons to this device, and cons kind of outweigh the pros in this case, unfortunately. So I'm going to start this video out by talking about some of the good things about the 2016 MacBook Pro. Now, I did go into the store and check it out because I really just wanted to get a feel for it before I started just talking trash about it. But it's not a piece of junk by any means. Now, don't get me wrong on that. It's a fabulous device and it looks awesome, and it's really a solid machine. The good things about it are the screen. Obviously, it's 75% brighter. Awesome, amazing Retina display, very nice. And then of course you have the OLED touch bar, which is very nice, very responsive. And really the clicky keys on the keyboard, everybody's talking negative about it, like it's a bad thing. Like, I like to be able to hear the keys when I'm clicking. Whenever I'm typing, I like to be able to hear the keys, so that's not really a bad thing for me. So shame on the guys who really gave the 2016 MacBook Pro a thumbs down due to it being too clicky. And it's slimmer, so a whole lot slimmer than the previous gen model. Now, I've got my previous gen, which is now the previous gen, 13-inch MacBook Pro. This thing is a workhorse. I love this thing, and you know, it's thin. It's still thin enough, in my opinion. I really still just think that, you know, companies should just stop trying to make things thinner and just give us a bigger battery life, because we know that they, you know, upgrade the technology and battery life every single year. They could just give us a bigger battery with the same thickness, and I think the average consumer would still be perfectly happy about that. Now, I'm still using this thing every day. I'm making my videos with it. I'm editing my videos with it. Anything that I'm doing, I run my graphics design business on this, and of course I do it on this, and you know, it gets me through. The thing that's just a deal breaker for me is the fact that there's no ports on it. You got 4 USB Type-C ports. Who is using USB Type-C? Like, the industry just really hasn't converted to USB Type-C yet. So what do? You got to buy an adapter and a dongle for every single separate port that you need. You need a SD card slot, dongle. You need a USB port, dongle. You need a display port, dongle. The only thing that they didn't put there, which you'd have to have a dongle for, is the headphone jack. Now, the headphone jack, it spurs a bit of controversy in me as to why they put a headphone jack in the new MacBook Pro, because the iPhone 7 doesn't have a headphone jack, but the new MacBook Pro has a headphone jack. So at any rate, I would think most of the people who bought into the iPhone 7 are touting wireless headphones anyway. So, you know, they all got wireless headphones anyway. So the fact that the headphone jack is there in the MacBook Pro, it befuddles me. I don't know. I mean, it is nice to have an analog headphone jack, yes, but I mean, did they really need to put that there, or no? Anyway, that's it just doesn't make sense to me. So you got to have a ton of dongles if you're going to use this thing on a regular basis. If you're running your business online like myself, then you're going to need a ton of dongles to use this thing. Fortunately, I shoot all my videos with the iPhone 7, so I really don't, you know, I can airdrop my videos into my iMac, and you know, it's no big deal as long as I've got a good. Now, if I'm out and about and on the go, then I'm going to have to, guess what? I'm going to have to buy a dongle to hook my iPhone 7 up to the new MacBook Pro, which is kind of like, it's annoying. But you know, if I'm at home, or if I'm in a place that's got a solid internet connection, I can just airdrop my photos and my videos into my iMac, and it's not really going to be, or my MacBook rather, not really going to be an issue. Well, going back to the pros, I like the trackpad. Everybody is kind of like, I don't know about the trackpad, but I like the trackpad. I like this long, huge thing. You know, I like it. And the palm rejection is not too bad. I don't know, I tested that tested that out while I was in the store, because you're inevitably going to put your hands on it whenever you're typing. But it's not that bad. I really like the fact that they added that on there, because I'm just always kind of running my finger off the surface when I'm using my MacBook Pro's trackpad. So I really like and it looks cool. So I really like that they added that on there. That's really a matter of personal preference, really, but I like that addition. Okay, you don't have any ports. We've established that. The pricing for the new MacBook Pros, yeah, I could understand it, but it's outrageous. I mean, really, if you wanted to get just a baseline model with the touch bar, you're spending $17.99. $1,799 for the baseline model. That's 13-inch with a touch bar. Now, if you're going to go 15-inch, yeah, you're buying a little bit more with that. Of course, you get a discrete graphics card and everything with that, and an i7 processor, but you're still buying it last gen Skylake processor for $2,000, $2,300 to get into the 15-inch 2016 MacBook Pro. So, anywhere between $1,700 to $2,500 if you really wanted to spec it out. 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, SSD, 16 gigabytes RAM. That stuff is gonna, go well over, the $3,000 range, which is another thing that's just kind of like, man, they're killing us with they're breaking the bank with this new MacBook Pro. Now, of course, if you're, Casey Nasdaq or, another one of these big YouTubers, make a ton of money every month. Yeah, it's no big deal. You can spend $3,000 on a MacBook Pro, not even feel the bump. But for the average consumer, I think it's just a little bit, too much. Now I can understand spending $2,000 to $2,500 for the top tier model MacBook Pro. When it goes over the $3,000 range, it's kind of like, man, like, you buying a car, you're making a down payment on a house. I mean, it's just a little bit too much for me to just grasp that the average consumer would be spending that kind of money on a laptop. But but anyway, the touch bar thingy is nice. I mean, the touch bar, you got all these hotkeys there, and you've got it will make video editing and photo editing very nice. You can do your tilt and all this other kind of stuff with this touch bar. But I still, like, even touching the touch bar, it still, like, makes me want to touch the screen. Like, even with the addition of this touch bar, I'm still wanting to take my hand off the touch bar and touch the screen. It's just like second nature. I'm still wanting to touch the screen. Now, I mean, I had a touchscreen laptop before. I was using the HP Envy X360 laptop, which had a touchscreen. So I was kind of used to touching the screen, which I've kind of had to wean myself off to since I bought this MacBook Pro. But it would be nice, and then they kind of cop out. When you hear the engineers, the chief engineering executive of Apple talking about, well, old Mac OS X isn't exactly optimized for touch interface, so it wouldn't make sense for us to make a touchscreen MacBook or iMac, which for me is a cop-out, because it's like, okay, you don't want to make a touchscreen for the MacBook, so because the UI is not touch friendly, well, make it touch friendly. Like, they're engineers, like they're supposed to do this. Now, I mean, it took Microsoft, for example, a few years to get this right in terms of making a touch-friendly, full-blown, desktop operating system. But still, they accomplished it. So it's not that Apple can't do it; they can, and I'm sure that all that is in the making. And the Touch Bar is just a glimpse of what the future MacBooks are going to be like. But it seems like, man, it's like it took them years to get this model out. So I mean, how many more years is it going to take? But you see, the thing about Windows is, they just throw stuff out there and they just kind of play around with it, and they let people, mess with it, and then they, Windows will screw up, and they'll take the criticism and whatnot. Apple doesn't like to do that. They will internally test this thing out for years before they even decide to even let the public even lay their eyes on it. So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it would be nice if Apple would come out and say, look, you know, this touch bar thing is just a glimpse of the future. And yes, we will have a touch interface optimized for touch with a MacBook Pro coming out in the next few years, or, you know, God knows when. But I mean, that would have just been nice to know. But outside of that, that's pretty much my my 2016 MacBook Pro rant. Not really a rant, because I really do like the machine. I really do like the new MacBook Pro. It is really sleek. I like the new space gray model, and it's just a really nice computer. But geez, they could have just been a little bit more friendly to the average consumer with the pricing. But outside of that, you know, I'm still gonna be, you know, banging on my, you know, 13-inch MacBook Pro until it gives away, and which will probably be for a while because it's pretty new. So outside of that, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it. And of course, I just splurged on this thing too not too long ago, just a couple of months ago. So it's kind of like, not going to be upgrading for a little while. But I thought I really wanted to make a video about that, you know, just giving my opinions as to why I'm not going to upgrade to the new 2016 MacBook Pro. And another thing is the light. The light is gone. Like, you know, when you open this thing up and you got the light, you got the, you know, the Apple logo lighting up. That's awesome. Like that, you know, that looks cool, right? But it's not there anymore. It's like totally gone. This thing is just a black Apple logo, and it's a little smaller too. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of bummed about that, because that's kind of iconic Apple with the MacBook Pro, is to have, you know, the Apple logo lighting up. You know, it's kind of a silly aesthetic to point that out as a negative, but I just thought I would, because it just kind of, you know, it just seems un-Apple to me to not have the light on the back of the on the lid of the new MacBook Pro. But I mean, I guess it's just something that we're just gonna have to get used to, you know, going forward with Apple. Outside of that, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you've liked it, and, you know, check out the other great content that I have on my channel, and stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video.